I've been a full-time commission artist for 5 years now, and there are so many things I would have done differently if I had started today. If you quit your job, got fired, or you're lost on how to make art your full-time career, and you're thinking of starting your art business in the AI era, but you're scared and have no idea if you can get customers, in this video I'll deliver you all my 5-year experience as an artist, no BS. Whether you use it and grow your own business is up to you from now on. When I was just a teenager, I was probably living the best moment possible to become a full-time digital artist, and I knew it. It was the DeviantArt era, and there was much more public for each artist than there is today. The bar was relatively low too. Those online artists with super sharp fundamentals that everyone aspires to be are relatively recent, and at the time, art contests from big platforms still had very decent prices, and artists hardly knew about art fundamentals. It was all about guessing and fun, and thanks to that, many artists from that era hit the jackpot on social media and continue to be successful today. Except for the fact that I never blew up on DeviantArt, and my drawings were half decent back then, so if you're thinking you missed the wagon, well, you didn't. I had it worse, trust me. Back in the day, I was in school and my family wanted me to go to university no matter what. I honestly wanted to quit school, but good thing my family forced me not to. I had all these huge dreams and expectations I barely knew how to put into words, but I knew I wanted to live the art career of my idols and not mine. For example, I wanted to turn myself into an IP, like those artists who make anything with their OCs and can sell like hotcakes, or those who get their OCs turned into plushies and action figures. I wanted to have my art style step everywhere, even in billboards and art books in Japan at some point. Stop taking commissions and become a fully commercial artist. I wanted to be an independent artist who drew whatever I wanted. I wanted to table at conventions, make cover illustrations for mobile games, which I later found out are called key visuals, and promotional illustrations, which are well paid if you have a following, but my career has been way less glamorous than that. I've always been terminally small on social media, commissions take up a lot of time, and only now I'm starting to get all the knowledge I need to make these things happen. You see the problem with that? It's unrealistic. I wanted to achieve too many things. All the things I presented above are milestones and not goals. I had no knowledge whatsoever to turn this into a reality. I hadn't been mentored by anyone back then. I knew nothing about entrepreneurship, and marketing was the least of my worries because my work was not up to standard, so marketing doesn't matter in that sense. So it's not really that hard to understand that the fuel for any art career is knowledge and action, and they're both equally important. I was lucky because being self-employed is exactly what I wanted for my life, but you'll never know if that's what you want to do if you don't lock in and make it happen. They say the best day to start something is 10 years ago, but do you know what the second best day is? Today. I understand I still have time to make these dreams come true, but they're not realistic for someone who lives off commissions on the opposite side of the globe compared to Japan, does not have a lot of followers, and has to do a lot of other things on the side. Maybe if I had a team that knew exactly what to do, I would be able to get there within this 5 years, but how can I expect a team to know what to do if not even I know what to do, when I can't even afford to have someone else working with me? And that leads up to the next topic. The first years are gonna be a shitstorm. And for most people in this early age, it seems like your worst enemy is the fact that you don't have a lot of social media followers. And I get it, it's really hard to get past your first 1,000 followers, but your true and only enemy is actually your own lack of knowledge, experience, and skill. Because as weird and oversimplistic as this may sound, the only thing that can establish yourself as an artist is your portfolio. A lot of people start without realizing how high the bar actually is nowadays and how wide your portfolio has to be. I had friends who made it in different ways. I started by focusing on skill, and I have friends who developed a simpler style and decided to play the social media game to grow fast instead. I think the skill route is safer, and that's what I did. These initial moments are not meant to be used to gain momentum on social media, but rather to build your skill arsenal, discipline, and find your winning formula. I found that my winning formula is that I deliver art much quicker than my clients expect, and since I'm full-time, I can dedicate myself exclusively to that work. Realizing how I'm different has allowed me to position myself differently and create a more positive experience for my clients. Remember, the only goal of your business is to make money, and as a consequence, you're not allowed to invest time or money in anything that won't push you to make money directly. And inevitably, things will get a little bit easier for you later down the road because you're more experienced, your art looks better, and you have more contacts with people who can give you the right feedback to achieve your goals. After you spend some time in this job, you realize that the truth is nobody cares about what you do. There was this time I was distributing pamphlets and small prints with my art at Anime Expo, and after no one reached out to me, I realized something. People don't care about what I do they? And does that mean I have to get better at what I do? No, sometimes it means you have to get better at getting people to care. We artists tend to rely too much on someone hiring us for something like a game, a movie, or something, and that thing blowing up to make us known. And can I be honest, that's the worst trap ever. I have been hired by individuals making indie games, not companies, so I've worked on plenty of projects to know that clients never finish what they start. The only thing they're good at is promising the world to you. Most of them think it's a get-rich-quick scheme. They don't make games for the pleasure of it or out of the place of experience, and they have no flying idea what they're doing. That's a typical case of someone trying to outsource a service they can't do themselves. You need to have your own projects. The only person you can rely on is yourself. And unfortunately, in our Western society, it's much easier to make people care about you than what you do. You do have your story, what got you into what you love doing. If you're good at telling your stories and making people care about you, that's much more powerful to sell anything than showing them pretty pictures. The truth is, people care more about people than what they do, and this comes up to the next topic. Become a people's artist. You can't convince people to order art from you. I mean, you can, but it's tiring, and most of the time it's an unprofessional endeavor. I cannot think of a way that cannot end in a headache, honestly, and that doesn't sustain in the long run. You can only make clients return by making them feel like they need you, turning them into loyal customers. Are you the kind of person who doesn't like to work with others? Well, I used to be like that, and I thought being an artist would be perfect for me, but you gain nothing by being like that. When I had my first mentor, I remember she told me to value every opportunity like it's the most important one you have. And at first I had no idea what that meant. Initially, I was kind of a cranky artist. The truth is, I would sometimes call out clients who were confused trying to order from me, and that would scare them away. I never disrespected them, but regardless, they got scared of me and never felt like coming back. It took me a long time to understand that people make decisions emotionally and not rationally. I thought everybody else was stupid and I was the only one who was being rational. Stupid girl. The fact is, people make decisions emotionally and try to justify them rationally later on. You know that hairdresser who never cuts your hair right but you keep coming back? But she's so nice, Sayuui. I thought people judged me by how efficient I was. I was having a hard time in the crisis until I saw all my artist friends who knew how to keep their clients while I was struggling looking for new clients every single day. The lack of money coming into my wallet made me conclude that I needed to do something about my personality. And then I read this book, Please Don't Judge Me. My business changed completely. And then I concluded you have to take care of your customer emotions and make them feel like rock stars, not do your work better than everyone else. For a long time, I didn't realize I should be nicer to my clients. Maybe my neurodivergent brain couldn't pick this up, but when I was growing up, I was judged by my grades, how much money I would be able to make as an adult, and how I could perform better than anyone else, not by being nice to others. No one told me that was a skill or made me aware that it was important. And when I started talking to my clients, I finally understood why my mentor said, you never know who is reaching out to you, how much they would be willing to order from you in the future, or who they would be willing to refer you to. So take that chance to show interest in them and see what they're up to. And I know human nature is kind of stupid and kind of annoying, but gladly it's a learned skill, and it's frustrating to know I wasted a lot of my time. And if I had known about this when the economy was better and more people were ordering, I would probably have been way more established nowadays, able to make more loyal clients. And lesson learned, I guess. Stop sweating so much about social media. The most popular video on this channel is my Twitter hints video. It was my first video to blow up, and it's still one of the most watched. I could have easily blown up my channel if I kept making similar videos, but I didn't replicate that formula. Instead, I called my friend Mace to show his perspective on growth, because anyone can see I'm still tiny on Twitter for someone who has been around for 5 years. Actually, I've been on Twitter for longer than that, but forget it. One thing I noticed from my friends who are growing quickly on Twitter is that I don't fit the mold. The friends I have who are growing fast are making at least 3 pieces to post a day, almost like they're mass producing, and the quality is the least of their concerns. If you're young and just starting now and have been feeling discouraged by how things are going, I can assure you that people who I see fit into this mold and blow up recently are usually younger artists, or at least the ones who started more recently. My friends and I who have been around for longer refuse to adapt to this approach, so we don't grow as much. Social media can actually take your joy from drawing away, take you away from the present, and put you in a constant state of struggling for survival. It can easily make you paranoid for no reason, and this happens because you only see people's best art and their best achievements. If I could go back in time, I would have uninstalled my Twitter app from my phone way earlier and focused only on creating. Stop hustling. Do you want to hurt your tendons from the get-go and have a hard time drawing for the next 40 years? Nobody wants that, right? The problem with hustle culture is that people forget we only have one body, and if you're going to hustle for one thing, you're giving away time that's never coming back. 80% of your efforts are wasted anyways, and there's nothing you can do about that. I remember being scolded by my mentors in the beginning. They told me not to do something because I was gonna fall flat, and I decided to do it anyways, and guess what happened? Well, lesson learned. I would have gone so much faster if I actually listened to them. Learn to tell you stories. Some people think they need to have a super interesting life to talk about it. What do you think you need to do for people to be interested in your story? Go bungee jumping or some shit to be full of friends? Well, I have never gone bungee jumping and I'm not full of friends, but I've told the story of my career a few times on this channel and you guys found it interesting. In fact, I have a video I made for the sole purpose of advertising my work to someone. And you guys like it and you watched it until the end. Actually, I didn't expect this video to do so well, and whether I got my target to watch the video or not, I consider it a success in regards to what I was trying to achieve. Do you want to know how I learned this skill? I read this book. It helped me understand so many things about human nature, sales, and social media. All you need to do is to tell a relatable moment of your life. Gone are the days when businesses did not have a face. The character is you and not your business, remember that. But how should I tell my stories? Will that help me sell my work? Stories turn regular people into true fans and help you sell anything, not just your work. Don't just offer services, offer products too. After you become full-time, it's common to experience periods of downtime when you can't earn any commissions for a while. This has been especially true now with the worldwide crisis, and in this kind of situation, you're usually faced with 2 options. To lower your prices, making you more vulnerable to nightmare clients, which shouldn't even be considered an option in my opinion, or to have a side hustle. For me, that was YouTube, but as you might know, YouTube's ad revenue is not great. That's why I say you have to approach it with a business mindset and learn to monetize from your audience's attention. Now that I'm not just an artist, I'm also a content creator, I'm faced with indecent offers for creators and not just for artists. People ask me to disclose their business for crumbs, but since I'm knowledgeable in my field, I can offer services, mentorships, and my ebook, so I don't accept everything that comes my way. So I thought, what can I make for a price that people from the whole world would be willing to pay, that can solve problems that people are losing sleep about? So I thought of the Full-Time Artist Roadmap, a book that compiles what I learned from my professional mentors who work in the industry, my professional friends, and myself over the past 5 years. It has everything I wish I had in the beginning. If you want to get it, the link is in the description. But this can't be something people buy casually and solve a problem that people lose sleep over. This worked pretty well for me because I had an experience with affiliate marketing. It didn't work for me in the past, but I wanted to produce my own digital product, and to be honest, I think I would never have been able to sell my ebook like I did if it weren't for my next step. Get a YouTube channel. Some commissioned artists say their lives changed when they started drawing NSFW, and I heard the NSFW community is willing to pay well and is very supportive of artists, but I refuse to go down that path. It's risky and there doesn't seem to be a way back. When people ask me what social media they should be in, I answer that you have to be active in the platforms you vibe with that are actually giving you results and you're willing to do what it takes to grow in. For Twitter, it's usually testing a lot, taking notes, drawing like the posts you see in the For You page, drawing fast and being the first person to draw a trend. For Instagram, it's willing to make a lot of short content monthly and to make reels about casual content, the kind that you would watch while standing in a line that's usually more about yourself than your art, but I'm not willing to race or make content about my personality. Out of all the things I've tried, streams, short content, conventions, commissions, what changed my career was YouTube long form. It's the only way to be listened for educational content, and if you do it right, especially focusing on personality-driven content, it will transform your career. People will start following you on other platforms and supporting your projects. Nowadays, I have an email list, a growing Patreon, and an ebook that sells, and I'm aware that none of this would have happened if I didn't have this channel. So I want to thank you all with all my heart for your support. I'm glad that I'm helping, and I will continue to do my best to help this amazing community. They say a YouTube channel tends to grow slowly, but YouTube has always liked me and embraced me much more than Twitter or Instagram. Stop procrastinating your website. I have friends who grow their clients' trust by streaming their art every day, and they say they don't make a website because they don't know how to. But they would be saving so much of their time if they had a simple one, because you can get instant trust from your customers and make it easy to order from them. It's a two-way win. I'll never understand artists who say their commissions are open for the first time and then forward people to their VGen. You're aware that VGen is a marketplace, right? You're disputing space with thousands of other creators on a platform that only wants to drag your prices down. So many broke people reach out to me through VGen. I haven't been able to take it seriously for a while now. One thing I wish I had learned to do early on is to set up a newsletter with a good lead magnet, an email list, and an automated email sequence from the beginning. I may be speaking Greek to some people, so let me explain. Try to think of something really helpful you can offer to your audience and use that as a bait for email addresses. Then set up an email sequence that will trigger immediately after that person signs up. That email sequence will tell them your story or the story of one of your pieces. The last email must invite that person to get a product or a service you offer. I've always had a newsletter, but I never grew it until I started making YouTube videos, so that might be something to keep in mind. I want to make a second ebook talking specifically about making an artist website, basic notions of graphic design, layout, and hosting platforms, so let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. Find someone to mirror on. When I say mirror on, it's very different than comparing yourself to. Humans are social beings, and in a career that doesn't have a compass, you need a parameter. You should make friends in this medium and keep in touch so you can ask them how you're doing as an artist and help each other grow. So if you're like me, when you start a career, you already have a pretty determined path you want to take. There are artists I'm a huge fan of, but I'm not them. If you hyper-focus on someone else's career, you'll forget about your qualities and the shortcomings that only you went through. I think one of the reasons why my career is relatively solid now is that I tried to use all the knowledge I got from my setbacks through my entire life to build the career I have now. I learned from every tiny mistake, and you can only achieve that by looking back at your own story. Now let's talk about being self-interested for a while. For years I've had clients with no money, and now I've been thinking of what I need to do to attract clients with more money, and the answer is nothing. Just keep improving your art, being open for business, and praying. And when I finally found clients that had a bit more money, it was nothing like I expected. The truth is, the only thing that people who have money think about is more money. If you want to charge more, you have to solve a bigger problem than just drawing pretty pictures. And it hurts to say this, but your goal is to become big and dictate the rules yourself, so the big people will pay as much as you want to charge. Another thing I've always thought about is how much I want to be big and cool and have a lot of big friends to hang out and collab with. But the truth is, if you're in a group of people like this and you have no followers or you're not performing, you're treated as someone who has nothing to add up. So I think I'm fine without famous friends and open to consider that anyone surrounding me is a potential friend. Take some time to look at the situation from the outside. It's easy to get paranoid in this career because you can watch a friend of yours succeed with way less effort than you, but in a completely different way compared to what you did. Then you can start blaming yourself, thinking there's something very wrong with the way you're doing things. So when that happens, please take some time off and be kind to yourself. We artists spend too much time scrolling social media and creating, and not a lot of quality time with ourselves. So at times like these, please take some time off and enjoy touching grass. This dissociation exercise takes a lot of maturity, and it has gotten a lot easier since I stopped using social media so much. It took me a while for me to understand that my path is very different from my friends, and they got their results faster than me because we're different. I concluded I'm glad that I'm in my own path, even though my growth has proven to be much slower than theirs. So what? Did I fulfill my goals? I actually went to university and got my degree, and that took me 6 years. When I got out, it was already too late to blow up social media. Sometimes I still get caught up in these what-if scenarios. What if I had dropped out of school? What if I finished school but never went to university? Would it be different? Would I have finally succeeding at blowing up social media like I've always wanted to do, even though I was never able to? I can't forget that I got out of there a little bit more knowledgeable, but I think I'm relatively satisfied considering that I want to make art for a living for the rest of my life. When I finished university, I didn't stop studying. In fact, it was only the beginning. Followers will never be more important than knowledge. If I take into account those goals I talked about at the beginning of the video, I'm a complete failure. But this is not what I should be taking into account. I'm doing fine, I'm able to support myself, and as long as that allows me to walk in the direction of my goals slowly but surely, I'll be fine. I'm reaching my limit in regard to how much I can earn with commissions, and I'm not able to outsource things yet. This is a serious problem because without people working for me, I can't expand my business. So I'm trying to earn a little bit more by targeting gigs from the industry instead of individual clients. Please wish me luck because that will definitely take a while. And I think I'm making a huge mistake in this channel. I'm a bit disappointing in part of my audience. I like talking about the business side of art, but sometimes I end up attracting people who are like, no, improve, only marketing. And it's really tiring to keep explaining that there's no marketing for a faulty product. If you understand that improving your art is the most important part of your business, you will take full advantage of my ebook, so definitely check it out. The link is in the description. And for this reason, I think I'll focus on videos about improvement from now on. I sometimes ask myself, what the hell am I doing in this YouTube channel when I set out to be an artist and make people care about my work, not myself? But for good or for bad, this is what is working for me, and I think fighting the lack of information and professionalism in this medium is worth it. If you're having a hard time creating discipline to draw because you're distracted by social media lately, here's a video to help you with that, and I hope to see you there.